G'day guys, Daniel here from the Big Leagues Daily. I'm going to quickly go through some questions which were sent in. There's about 20. I'm sorry I can only get to about 6 I've got here. I'll try to get through the rest of them sometime later this week. I'm going to get stuck in. Jeff Stower asks, when can we expect to see Manny Machdo return from injury? He was doing some sprints this morning. That's this morning your time. It's actually midday here on Tuesday. So the times I'll be using will be, throughout this blog, will be your time zone, American Eastern Standard Time. So he was doing some sprints this morning, length about 90 feet. He's got to build that up to 180 feet sprints, 180 foot sprints, and then once that's going well and there's no concerns, then he will move to extended spring training games, and from there obviously he can return. So I'm thinking mid-May at best. He's still probably a month away. It's frustrating, but I think the O's have covered him pretty well at the moment. I'll get into that in a few questions later on. But they're certainly not going to rush him back. He's too valuable for that. So probably mid-May to answer your question, Jeff. Thanks for your question. Troy knows, sends in, he asks, when Manny Machdo returns, who will get the starting role at second base? That'll be Steve Lombardosi, I think. He's hitting 295. Ryan Flaherty's hitting 189. Both are very good defensively, but Lombardosi's been extremely impressive, and I think he deserves that opportunity. Flaherty is also probably more suited of the two to a backup infielder's role. Thanks for your question, Troy. Ryan Stickle asks, who gets sent to AAA when Manny Machdo comes back? I can see a pretty common theme here. I think it's Jonathan Scope. It's probably not going to be a popular decision. Probably a popular answer amongst you guys out there, but he's hitting 244. He's got a home run. He's got 6 RBIs, but he could benefit more from extended time down at AAA as opposed to Lombardosi or Flaherty. In addition to that, Scope, it's only one game, but the 2 areas he gave up against the Blue Jays were really costly, and I think that highlights that there's probably a little bit more development there required. So to answer your question, Ryan, I think Jonathan Scope will be sent down to AAA when Machdo comes back. How long that's for? Not quite sure. Hopefully not for the rest of the season. I'm sure we'll see him again, but that would be my choice at this stage. If Flaherty does fall back into his hitting slump, well then that might need to be readdressed. Thanks, Ryan. Nick Madelone sends in a question. He asks, what my thoughts are on Zach Britton joining the starting rotation, and if he does, who would he replace? Nick, I think Zach is doing a fantastic job, as you're probably all aware, in the coming out of the bullpen. So the old adage of if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I think that rings true here. I think he needs to stay in the bullpen. I don't think we need to start messing with the rotation just yet. Hypothetically, I think if Gonzalez continues to struggle, he could be used coming out of the bullpen, then maybe use Britton as a starter. Chen and Norris have been very impressive in their last outings each, so it would have to be Gonzalez at this stage. But let's see how he goes tomorrow night. And I still back Miggy to come back pretty well. He's had 2 very good seasons with the Orioles now, so I think he's going to bounce back. Thanks, Nick. Petru Tobai, I hope I've pronounced that right, mate. Asks, if Jimenez keeps struggling, can they send him down to AAA? They're going to be, I don't think they will. Petru, I think they're going to persist with him. Yes, he's had 3 pretty bad starts, but historically, and I put an article up yesterday about this on TBL Daily, historically, Jimenez has always struggled in March and April. It is statistically his worst period throughout the season. Unfortunately, he's probably got another 2, maybe even 3 starts to go this month. So he could potentially, if it doesn't improve, he could be 9-5, 9-6 by the end of the month, which is obviously extremely poor, and it would take a lot to rescue his season from that point. But let's see how he goes for the rest of the month, and I'd probably even give him until mid-May to make any, to even raise that discussion. He is a quality pitcher. Yes, he may struggle a little bit in the AL East to start with, but I don't think we need to look at sending him down anytime soon. There's too much of an investment. Maybe he could be used out of the bullpen, I'm not sure. that would be a worst case scenario. Petru, thanks for the question. Last question comes from Alex Gardner. He asked, when will Dylan Bundy be ready to pitch again in the majors? Look, his rehab's progressing well, but they're not going to be risking him either. He's still got quite some time to go. He will be appearing probably in the minors sometime this season. I can't see him appearing for the O's this year. Finish this year off strong in the minors. Hopefully have a good spring next year. I don't think he'll start with the O's in 2015, but he might appear sometime early to mid-season, depending on the other starters in the rotation. So, Alex, to answer your question, when will Dylan Bundy pitch again in the majors? If I had to throw out a figure, or throw out a month, I'd probably say May, June 2015, best case scenario. But baseball's a funny game, I could be proven wrong. Look, that's all the questions I've got now, guys. Thankfully, the stun has stayed out in this, probably my fourth attempt. It was a great win by the O's today. Wei Chen looked great. The hitters look great. Matt Wieters, jeez, he is on fire. JJ Hardy looks to be back to his normal self. I think he went 3 for 4 today. If the Birds win tomorrow, they're back to 7-7. Which is great. If they can get through April with a record of 500 or better, they're going to cause some damage in May and June, and they'll be right in the thick of the playoff race, I reckon, again. So the next time you'll hear from me will be my article from massinsports.com, which will be released on Wednesday. Make sure you guys check that out. I'll be looking at Norfolk and how they've been performing, and they've really been struggling. I think they lost again today, so they're 3-8 from memory. But I will be looking at who's performing well down there, and what effect that may have on the Orioles roster moving forward. Thanks, guys. Go Birds.